Hey, hi, welcome to this short video in which I'm going to teach you 3 cool tricks to do better in live tournaments. I hope wherever you're watching this or whenever you're watching it, you're having a great month, having a great time, both on and off the tables. I have to report to you, I'm filming this in London where it's cold, dark and wet outdoors. So I thought it'd be a good night to come inside and put all the lights on so I could film for you. Basically, you're getting this video just so that I could be in the warm from the lights. No, you're not. You're getting this video to help you with your poker. So let's get into that. So the first of our cool tricks is to look left. Look left. Look left. You may ask, why am I writing things on a board when I'm incapable of writing in a way you can read it? It's a great question, to be honest, but we're going to keep up the pretense. So what do I mean by look left? What I mean by look left is, before it's your turn to act, you want to look to your left in a live poker tournament. The reason for that is players will very often give away their intentions before the action gets to them. I guess it's because action takes a long time to come round in a live tournament. People get a little bit fidgety. If they know what they're going to do, they can't help themselves. And this can go both ways. Sometimes players will tip you off that they're going to play. So they might cut their chips or start moving their cards back to their stack and itching towards their stack. So you know that they were going to bet. So if you were going to steal with bad cards, you might think better of it, right? The other thing that you can often see is people looking to muck their cards. So they might start sliding them forwards, or they might even kind of pick them up ready to throw them in. And this is often happening subconsciously before it's their turn to act. So if you weren't going to steal, because let's say you have a completely trashy hand and you just weren't going to make a move or whatever, but then you see, let's say you're in the cutoff, you see a couple of people starting to move their cards, well, now you might think, this is really profitable, I should be stealing here, whatever my cards are, and you can make a steal. So very important tip that a lot of players miss, look left. It really can make the difference between you picking up a few rounds of chips and not. Really important thing that. Number 2 on our 3 cool weird tricks is that players don't like to call shoves. So number 2, don't call shoves. Yeah, players. This is a debacle. Players don't like to call shoves. So this is slightly true online, but it's very true live. In tournaments, players don't like to call off shoves. Now, there's a couple of reasons for this, I think. The first reason is that they don't like to look silly. No one likes to look silly. So I think what you'll find in live tournaments compared to online is that players kind of make big bluffs and shove a little bit less often. Doesn't mean to say they never do it, but a little bit less often. And players call off shoves less often because they don't want to turn over a relatively weak hand and look silly, because looking silly is much worse live, right? Because there's lots of people there, it's real life as opposed to online. So they won't call as much. The other reason is that it's not something people do very well in tournament poker anyway. Unless you're playing against good players or players that have put some effort into figuring out correct calling ranges, players fold too much when it's shoved on them anyway. So when you put those two things together, you should adjust your play a little bit in live tournaments. So one of the things that you should do is you should shove more, right, when you get the opportunity, because you're going to get more folds. The second thing you should do is you should re-shove more. So when someone is open raised and you can make a shove of, say, like 14 to 22 big blinds, could be a bit more, could be a bit less, depends on the player. You will have a lot of fold equity. They're going to have to fold a lot of the time because they don't like calling off shoves like that, a little bit more live. And the last thing you can do is you can actually wait a little bit longer with a short stack. So you've probably heard that when your stack gets to 10 big blinds or less, you should only be shoving most of the time, right? That's pretty much a golden rule. Live, you can actually wait until your stack gets down to maybe 7 or 8 big blinds and have the same amount of fold equity. Now, this is a big generalization. Please bear in mind, I'm not talking about against good players like professional players or competent players that know their calling range. But against the average live player in a live tournament, you will have a lot of fold equity with a kind of 7 or 8 big blind stack, especially if you're playing in a tournament with a fast structure. So bear in mind, players don't like to call off shoves very much live, and you can adjust your play and take advantage of that. Trick number 3, need some graphics, I know, is trick number 3. Trick number 3 is that players are not aggressive on the river without a good reason. So take river aggression seriously, let's say. So river aggression equals plus, plus, plus is what I'm going to say. Again, the caveat is not if you're playing, a professional player or a really competent player, but those should stand out in a live tournament. Playing an average live tournament, a lot of the aggression you see on the river will be a big hand, okay? Especially if it's a raise. You see very few raise bluffs on the river in live tournaments, and especially if it's for somebody's entire stack, right? When players make those kind of moves, no matter what the betting line has been, it's very often a strong hand. Now, again, I'm talking in big generalizations, but you should adjust your play as opposed to online where people are prepared to make big bluffs a little bit more easily. You see very few big river bluffs in tournaments, and actually players aren't very good at value betting the river either. So if somebody's suddenly making a raise or a big river move of some kind, you have to weight their hands towards being very strong, and you should only really be calling if you have a strong hand yourself. Again, I'm talking generalizations, it varies from hand to hand, but in general, that's a mistake I see players making all the time, calling down when kind of an average, tightish live tournament player is representing a big hand. Guess what? He very often has that big hand. So there you go, 3 quick tips you can use next time you play live tournaments that will make a difference if you make those adjustments. Always look left before you act to see what the players are going to do. Remember, players don't like to call shoves, so your stack has a lot of shoving equity, if you like, both over opening raises and as a short stack shove. And number 3, river aggression equals strength, so respect it when it comes from a live tournament player, as long as they're not a pro and capable of big bluffs. Put those into action, you're going to see some great results from it. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it and you'd like more, then hit the subscribe button here or under the video, and I'll send you these regularly on YouTube. Do leave me a comment underneath the video so you can tell me what you're struggling with and what I can make future videos about to help you out with. And if you're ready to take your game to the next level, then click this link on screen. This is going to take you to my website, transformmypoker.com, where you can sign up for a free series of training videos, much more in depth than the one you've just watched, that can really take your game to the next level and get you the consistent results that you deserve. All right, thanks again for watching. Take care and run good, because that's the hard part.